Hello, good morning. I am Brandy Agerbeck's morning here. Brandy Agerbeck of loosetooth.com. As you can see behind me, I'm not in Chicago for this Studio Tuesday, and technically it's Monday. But I wanted to give a report from the front, the studio space I'm claiming this weekend here in Irvine, California. So this is my gorgeous post-conference hangover look. Not hungover from alcohol. No shame if that's your game, but this is the hangover of so much learning, so much energy, so much motivation. So you're getting the window light, and you're getting the no lipstick thing, and you're getting the coffee before my flight back to O'Hare. And the caffeine. So what I wanted to share was this particular video is less about visual thinking itself, but it is all about how I get my visual thinking resources to you. So definitely what I thought I was doing with my business Thursday before the conference is different from what I'm doing with my business today after all the amazing things I learned over the weekend. Kajabi is the platform I use to deliver my courses to you, to deliver these video-based courses, to deliver things like PDFs, deliver things like audio files if I end up doing that. It's this really amazing platform to teach. And it's interesting to watch how beautifully Kajabi as a company, as a platform, as tools, has grown since I became a founder. I think it was 2015. To see how much it's grown. The last kind of tagline or approach was they called themselves a knowledge commerce platform, very much geared towards how do I share what I know with you? How do we build courses and tools that get my experience to you? And that absolutely 100% resonates with me, for sure. It's been really amazing to see how they've grown, and now it's much more about business building overall, because a lot of different businesses can use a platform. Anyway, I've been here with my friend Patricia, and dear friend and accountability partner and thought partner, and oh my gosh, she's the best. And she is newer in the online teaching path and the internet marketing path. And so for her, she's just like, just buckets full of new information, of really putting what she's learned, just kind of like in the exploratory phase into practice for the first time. So it's been an absolute joy to witness her process this weekend. And she said to me, she asked me on Saturday night, she's like, so I know I'm learning tons and tons and tons, but what are you learning? And the biggest thing was, sometimes you go to these conferences, you go to a workshop, some of it's education, some of it's affirmation. And for me personally, it's been a lot more affirmation than education, but you know what? I am totally good with that, because when you're working solo, when I'm back in Chicago in my itty bitty studio, when I'm back at my desk in the second bedroom in my condo, it's really isolating. It's like, you're doing the best you can, and every single comment from a learner, every single email from a learner is pure gold. It's just it's that fuel that you need to keep going. But the work is very solitary. There's a lot I really like about that. Believe me, I love being in the studio in front of this camera lens on my camera or on my phone, excuse me, or the camera lens on my other camera. I love this. I love being in my own space, but being able to connect with you and help teach you. But it's difficult to get a sense of proportion, of progress, of context, because in this path of being able to build these courses and put them out in the world, it's a really long path, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of steps. So, it's difficult to remember how much you've accomplished when all you're doing is thinking, oh, and I need to do this, oh, and I need to do this, and oh, I need to do this. So I stayed here in California an extra night so I could really just get down those ideas of the lists and the details and the very specific learnings that I want to make sure I put into the courses to make them the absolute best they can be for you. And believe me, my personality, who I am, I much prefer my production time. I much prefer being in that studio, because there's nothing better than thinking about, okay, what results do I want my learner to make? Like, what new actions do I want them to take? What do I want them to be able to do with their work? And then thinking, okay, in this space, with these materials, how can I kind of reverse engineer what I want them to do, want them to accomplish for themselves? How can I figure out how to demonstrate that on video? And it's like the best of the best of the best. This is why producing the Agerbeck method, my core online course, was really, really exhausting. Like partway through it, I'm like, this is at least the amount of effort of writing one of my books. And it was incredibly joyful because that part, the production part, I love. And sadly, honestly, not so sadly, it's just the deal is that half, if not even more, of this entire process is the marketing side. And I know plenty of people who are watching are like, marketing. You know, the thing is, nobody would know the Agerbeck method is out there if I'm not doing my marketing work. Like right now, I have the tiny, like awesome pool of like really dedicated people who already know about this, who already know visual thinking is like the most fantastic thing. And I adore you. Like, do not go anywhere. Excuse me. This is not to discount you in the slightest. Pardon my frogginess this morning. It's early. So that's not to dismiss absolutely anything about you. Those of you who already know me and learn from me, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's all about reaching more people and being able to grow the number of people who are using these visual tools to kick butt. You know, it's like a lot of what I'm doing right now is preaching to the choir. But a lot of what I need to be doing is really looking at shoring up. So here's the deal. I've talked about my depression. Thankfully, things are already getting much better. I think I'm extremely lucky that I found a medication that worked pretty much right off the bat. I know that's not everyone's experience. But so that's good. Now, when I was in the complete depths of that depression, I was very much in my cave. And what I was doing in that cave was making progress, and it was doing a lot of mapping out, planning this like massive visual thinking curriculum. Like if I was going to make the entire universe of what Brandy wanted to teach you out of my years of experience, you know, the 45 years of personal experience, okay, maybe 43 years because I started drawing when I was 2, that, you know, those 4+ decades of personal experience and those 2+ decades of professional experience, like, okay, what do I have to share? Because I know this stuff is amazing, right? These tools, these techniques are amazing, and I want you to be able to do these things too. So that's what gets me up. Like that's what's helped me, you know, scrape myself out of bed through that depression. So what I had been working on was this huge curriculum of courses. And if you look at my newly designed homepage, which I'm so happy about, you'll see there's a page that is about those upcoming courses. But you're going to have to be patient, because I think the biggest thing I learned here this weekend, and I knew it going in, but again, it was lots and lots of affirmation, is that what I need to really be focusing on is making the Agerbeck method, making that core course just the most beautiful, strong, amazing course ever, which is about a couple things. One thing I realized is the Agerbeck method is a big course. It's 90 days. You have a lifetime access to the course, so you don't have to do the course in 90 days, which I have to make a lot clearer. It's one of the things on the list. But the Agerbeck method is a big course. It's 90 days. It's 25 hours of content, because each daily lesson is anywhere between 10 minutes and 30 minutes. It does average out to about 15 minutes a day. And I love it. Like, I'm not taking anything away from that course. I'm also being careful not to add a lot more, because I know it's a lot. It really is. Like, again, I'm really happy with it. I'm really proud of it, because it is a very complete introductory course, and it's robust enough. There's enough detail in it that when I say introductory, I know every person who, no matter what your skill level is or experience level is, you're going to get something from this course, because I know the kind of things I'm teaching from my experience I'm not seeing in people's work. So that's why I'm doing this. Like, let's all completely rock visual thinking together. So incredibly, so the way that the course is introductory is it's sequential. It's bit by bit, piece by piece. Like each one of those videos is one of the speakers said snackable. You want something that's snackable. And I love, Carla, I hope you don't mind that I'm quoting you. We had a call last week, a live call, which I'll explain in a minute. But she said that she would use her next lesson as her treat. So if I get these things done today, Carla would then get to do her Agerbeck method video. So I love that idea of the snackable or the sweet or the treat. It's just so good. So so there is a lot of joy in the course, and there's people who like the absolute #1 biggest testimonial. I'm going to brag on myself. I'm going to brag on my students, on my learners. The #1 best testimonial I can get is the folks who are saying, like, I'm done and I cannot wait to go back to day 1 and do this all again. Like, the best. And just behind the scenes, it's a relief because I know I need to spend my energy really making the Agerbeck method phenomenal before I start building out these other courses. So those of you who are like, yeah, what's the next thing? I'm sorry. I'm going to have to ask for your patience, because making the Agerbeck method as solid and beautiful and effective as I can, it's a couple different things. One is what I learned this weekend is, and this is why I'm doing this thing called the Spring Community Boost. That's what the call was I referenced just a couple minutes ago. The Spring Community Boost is this new bonus right now where you get the course, you get the lifetime access, you get those 90 days, which are already super solid, fantastic. I can say that with confidence. Not only because I know how much I poured into that course, but also, exactly what my learners are telling me. So I'm very thankful. And so I will, toot my own horn there. So you get the super, super solid course. You also get weekly live calls with me. That's not something I like to do. Like I said, I much prefer being in my studio looking at this lens than being on those calls. Because you know what? I like that I have a schedule where I can decide when I go to the studio. Like, I don't have a lot. There's a huge reason why I don't do coaching. I don't do one-on-one coaching. I don't do virtual coaching. The closest I get is a lab, because I want to either be on and present with you or completely left to my own devices, which often means being in the studio. So just a, big picture thing about the ways I like to operate, the ways I like to get what I know to you. Live calls is not a big plan. So this is an experiment. This is trying it. So we had our first call last week. Absolutely fantastic. And, seeing people from all over the world on this call, the best. That was the first of 12 calls. So there's 11 more calls, and they are all archived for the folks taking this bonus. So if you register for the Agerbeck method right now, it's no extra cost for the calls. That is included in the price. And I got to figure out when I'm closing that door, but please join me now. So this is getting long. I'm sorry. It's just a lot of stuff going on. So #1, I'm really excited about the Spring Community Boost, because for me, I get to hear exactly people's experience going through the course, so I can make it much more again, I think the core, the guts of it is great. It's things like how to help motivate people through the whole 90 days. How to make sure that, one thing is, bless the folks, I completely, this is the, because I've been learning and using online courses so much, I forget that there's people who've never done an online course before, and they're like, how the heck do I register? How the heck does this start? So just really simple things like, how do I welcome people into the course and make it crystal clear what their experience will be? So really excited to do that. So a lot about motivation, about how do you kind of welcome people, orient people into the course. Because I think once you get going, you're good. It makes sense. There's a pattern. It's really clear. But I think that I have more work to do to make it extra, extra clear in the very beginning. And to back up one previous step, to really improve my registration page so people understand what the heck it is and why it's so darn valuable. Those of you in the course, thank you. And I think that, it's chock full of awesome. So I need to make that clearer on my side. And then the big unsexy thing for you as the learner, but it's so important for me, is that I need to do a lot more marketing about how do people find the course. Because right now I've got this super small, deep pool of the people who already get it. The people who already like, yeah, I know what visual thinking is. I'm a visual thinker, or I want to become a visual thinker, and this is what I need to get there. That is fantastic. And there's a whole lot of us who think visually, but we're never taught the tools to do it. So for me, a lot of my effort, a lot of the stuff is unfortunately not a new course for you, but it's a whole lot of stuff that makes people that gets more people into our community, that gets more people into the course, helps more people learn. And I think we all want that, right? I think a lot of you who are in my courses watching these videos, please sign up for my newsletter. Please join me in the course if you're not. That we get this. We know it in our bones. And a lot of us feel really isolated. Like we kind of feel like, well, I do this kind of weird thing by, drawing out my ideas, and we want to connect. Like that's a huge motivation to be there, is not only to learn as an individual, but to be able to see other people learning alongside you, because we all want to be better and stronger at getting our ideas out of our head and onto paper, or getting our clients' ideas onto paper. So it can take a lot of different forms, but really the main thing is developing these visual thinking skills. So I have a lot of work to really help make the experience of the people who already get it, those of you who are already in that small, beautiful, deep pool, a totally frictionless experience, and then to also help make that pool bigger and bigger and bigger. Give us more community, more colleagues, more people who understand how powerful this work is. And that's just a lot of behind the scenes work. And I'm really thankful. I learned, massive amounts this weekend, affirmed a lot. Like maybe I mentioned this already in this video. Conferences can often be about education or affirmation. And like I said, this work is really isolating, to be in the studio, to be in front of the computer, making this stuff happen. And again, that fuel is the learners, your comments in the course and your emails to me, all that good stuff. I never, ever, ever take that for granted. That is gold. That is fuel. That is amazing. And I lost my train of thought. But it can be very isolating, because you're putting the stuff out there and there's always more work to do. And it's sort of like, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And this conference has been really, 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 really huge. Very gratifying, and then it's helped me see my progress. I've got this fantastic course. I've got these phenomenal learners. Like, I know the pieces of the puzzle. This weekend was not so much about the big chunks of learning for me. It was much more about those smaller refinements, those refocusing on what's most important, that was really important to me. So hooray, it's good. That's why I'm, here looking, half asleep with my coffee this morning, and sharing with you what the heck's happening behind the scenes in the Studio Tuesday. So number one, focusing on the Agerbeck method. Again, making the course the most refined, gorgeous thing it can be, frictionless, like really the facilitation elements. Like, does somebody really understand how to move through this course elegantly, beautifully, without friction? Because I know the course itself is fantastic, along with knowing the course is fantastic and wanting people to participate in the whole 90 days, how to help motivate people through the course. I think some of the making it easier is part of that. But I think we can have more fun with the motivation. And then again, the whole other side, which I know, you don't want to know all about, but it's how we get new people in, is the marketing. So that's the biggest focus, is really keeping focused on the Agerbeck method. It's the core course. Could not be happier with it. But there's always ways to make it better. That's the iterator. That's the iteration. So that's the biggest thing. I'm going to give you a sneak peek of a couple other things, and I really have to figure out what the timing is and how to properly introduce these things, but I am going to give you a sneak peek. One, part of the reason I'm doing that spring community boost with those calls is that I am looking to launch, I don't know why I'm being so shy about it. I'm really excited about it, but now it's a little scary, that I believe in time for my 20th birthday of loosetude.com. Yes, I launched my site in 1999. It's been around forever. It's changed over the years, but it's been around forever. Alongside that 20th birthday of loosetooth.com, I'm launching a membership site so that those of you who know how important this work is can connect with each other. So I really see the membership being about, I'm going to tell you the name. The name of the membership membership area is Camp Drawmore. Because that really is my motivation. I want people to draw more, and we're going to have fun with it. That's it. So I want to see you in Camp Drawmore. And the three things I see in Camp Drawmore, which I'm really building, as I'm working on what the heck the design is, what the heck the shape of it is, how do I help facilitate this? The three things are connection. Again, those of us who are lone wolves doing this work, helping us connect with other people who are also just as nerded out and geeked out about it as we are. So connection, community, being able to connect with each other, see where each of us are in our learning, and seeing and celebrating our successes. Because I know I'm the kind of person, I'm hard on myself. I don't do enough of that yeah kind of stuff. So community, number one. Number two, inspiration. So really bringing in these new ideas. And I'm excited that I've got, so in this membership group, there will be a monthly theme. And that theme is just an opportunity to focus in on one specific aspect of visual thinking or visual culture, just tuning into something. That's it. And, 1 month you might be super excited about the theme, and the next month you might be like, meh, not so much. All of it's going to be archived. So, whatever point you join me in Camp Drawmore, there will be fantastic inspiration for you. And there's more to it than the theme. More about that later. So community, inspiration, and motivation. Because I think the biggest thing is really helping you have a place to focus on your visual practice. And here's what, I say the work, we know that this work is important. It's the tools that work for us. When I say the work, I don't mean specifically graphic facilitation. I know that's been my experience professionally, but the reason it's called Camp Drawmore is I want everybody to draw more. And it really is, I'm excited to bring a lot of different people in. I'll tell you this part. Each month we'll also have a long interview with somebody who uses drawing, but uses drawing as a verb. I am going to focus on people who are using drawing more for getting their ideas out in the world, getting their ideas out of their head onto paper and getting their ideas out in the world, or helping support groups with getting their ideas out there in a lot of different ways. So if you're thinking, oh, but I'm not a graphic facilitator or a graphic recorder, yes, we will be there. We will be there because we're the ones who have been doing this work and are ultra invested because it's, part of our livelihood. But that it's really much more inclusive than that. And we are focusing on drawing as a verb, drawing as a process. I'm not personally, I'm still figuring this out, figuring out where the boundaries are. I don't intend to have a lot of things that are about fine art specifically, though a lot of the folks I'm talking to, that is part of their practice. It really is about drawing as a verb over drawing as a noun, as an object, as a beautiful thing. Awesome stuff there too, totally. But really what I want to do is cultivate this space where we really focus on process, as you know, process over product. So that's the next thing. So one, really making Agerbeck method super, super awesome. Two, getting Camp Drawmore out into the world so you can join me in this absolutely wonderful community we're building. And then the third thing is, and this, this is a thing that feels, oh, what does it feel? So I had a pilot course that was live calls because I was developing a course called Graphic Facilitator Confidential. And this was specific to the role of graphic facilitation, and even more specifically, how do you build your business? And this is the course where if I think about my, the length of my career so far and where I am now and where I want to go next, the graphic facilitation, more coffee. Graphic Facilitation Confidential is me really trying to pass on what I know from those 22 years. But I know, my next 22 years is much, much more about everything I've said in these 24 minutes already. Oh, heaven help us. Bless you if you're watching this far. So if you're still here, let's talk about Graphic Facilitator Confidential. So Graphic Facilitator Confidential is again, it's about that specific role, and it's specifically about business building, because this is weird work. And I know that when I started back in 1996, what the heck was it? Nobody knew what it was, blah, 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 blah. So I want to help people define their business, figure out what their approach is, what their differentiators are, and just help with like all those different decisions to help you figure out what your practice is. Now, it's not, yes, I talk about marketing. It's not about like, it's not a coaching program. It's very specifically about how do you make these decisions so you feel confident in how you've built your graphic facilitation business. I know this sounds a little weird, but it's like very concrete, checklisty kind of things of like, do you want to do this or this? Do you want to do this or this? Now, that sounds really simple, but I think it's huge in defining what those choices are, because you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. We're all just trying to figure this out, but I'm excited that I'm helping define what those choices are, but then I'm also sharing my long view of 22 years doing this work. And the reason, like, it feels like this, like for me, my future is Agerbeck method and much, much more about visual thinking more broadly. Right now, I feel like I need to get this knowledge out there, and it feels like one of my projects that's kind of tying a bow on graphic facilitation. Like, I'm going to tell you everything I know from 1996 to 2019, and the business is going to keep changing. So one of my personal challenges in building out this specific course is making it information where it's not about what it was in 1996, though there are some interesting lessons there, mostly for those of you who are doing this work in a place where the market's less developed. If you're sitting here, if you are a graphic facilitator and you're in a part of the world where nobody knows what the heck that is, I've been there. So I definitely want to share those lessons. But for me, it's about how can I create the best resources for you in defining and shaping your business. When I say, I keep on being reserved about saying building your business, because I think building your business is an absolute long-term thing for sure. It's about how do you think about networking? How do you think about education? How do you think about your own professional development, personal development, all that stuff. So I think this course is much more about business shaping, my favorite word, shaping. How do you shape it enough that here's where, like, it has enough of a shape that people know what the heck you do so they can hire you. That's what we're here for, to, make a living and help these people in these rooms when we're drawing for them. So, oh gosh, I'm all over the place. Graphic Facilitator Confidential. So part of it is trying to definitely learn from my lessons early on, for those of you who are early on kind of markets. But also I know that I need to kind of get this out there while what I know is still relevant. That's it. And I'm trying to definitely design it so that it is the questions aren't so dated. It isn't like, how do you do this specific thing that, like, I've already seen kind of wane. And I will tell you right now, I do not know anything about digital visual facilitation. It's just not my jam. I like the paper. I like the markers. So now certainly other things around how do you price your work? How do you figure out the scope of your work? How do you communicate that to your clients? All that stuff I think is very, very applicable, whether you're doing this specific thing or this specific thing within the visual practice field. But that's another, and again, this is one of those things where right now I'm like, all I want to do is work on the Agerbeck method. But I also need to work on Graphic Facilitator Confidential, because again, it's terrible to say, forgive me. I know I'm putting really good stuff in there. It's kind of the thing I have to get out of the way personally, before I can continue to do all this great stuff with the visual thinking. So I don't know exactly when this is going to happen. Certainly if you go to my homepage and you go to the, oh gosh, what page is it? I'll link to it below, but it's online course. There's a waiting, not a waiting list, but an interest list specifically for graphic facilitator. I'm not going to drink more coffee. We're fine. Graphic Facilitator Confidential. That it's an interest list. So if this is something where you're like, yeah, I want that, sign up for that list, and then you will get the first news on that. And also any of the interest lists on my site. That's my best way of figuring out what I'm going to do next. Where is the interest? Like, I know what I want to work on, and I've got lots and lots of ideas, but I know it's probably looks kind of putsy on my site to be like, why am I signing up for all these things? You're not getting on like 1,300 different things. It's that you are, anytime you sign up on the site, it's all going, as long as it's the same email, and please use your best email so you make sure you get this information, that when you sign up for that email, it's not giving you the same stuff over and over. So part of the Kajabi thing is I add tags to your email address so I know, oh, hey, you want these specific things, so I can make sure that you get that specific information when it's ready. That's it. I know a whole big part of that is, selling, right? Because I need to make a living. This is my business. But a big part of it is, hey, you told me you wanted this thing, and hey, this thing is ready. That's it. Ta-da. So making Agerbeck method absolutely, absolutely fantastic. Launching Camp Drawmore, our community. And third, Graphic Facilitator Confidential. So that's what's percolating over here in my studio in my hotel room, which was a little too warm, and I'm a little under-caffeinated, and there you go. So bless anyone who made it through these 31 minutes, and I really thank you for your time. And if you were wondering what the heck was happening behind the scenes, that's it. Now you know. So certainly, by all means, I would love to have, if you're not yet in the Agerbeck method, please join us. Hopefully this is giving you more context. I am always refining, always making what the heck that is clearer, because I know that registration page I built almost a year ago before I built the course. So, it's going to change. So if you go to it today on April 8th, 2019, you'll see some changes there. But that's only because, I learned some really good stuff. I know I need to get out of my own head and make it clearer to you who's not living up here, thank goodness, what the heck that stuff is. So join us in the Agerbeck method. We've got this spring community boost happening. Again, it's included in the registration price. So no extra. It is a bonus. It is 12 extra hours with me live, which, like I said, I don't really like to do. So it's a unique opportunity. And always, I've got group discounts if 2, 3, and 4 people sign up for the course together. So grab a friend, and that's how you get a discount on the course. That's the core course. I'm super proud of it. That's why I put my name on it. So that's that. Stay tuned for Camp Drawmore. Oh, if you go to loosetooth.com, you'll see a link to sign up for the interest list for that. So if you're like, hey, I want community, I want motivation, I want inspiration, what the heck is this thing? Sign up for that list so you can find out how the heck to join us soon. And lastly, percolating, working, producing on Graphic Facilitator Confidential. And if that is your specific need, if you're like, this is what I need from you, Brandy Agerbeck, is I am professionally doing this work and I need guidance on what choices I need to make around shaping my business, that's where it's at. And again, you can hop on over to loosetooth.com to that specific page for the interest list there. All of that helps motivate me to be in front of the camera to help design and produce and share what I know so you can do fantastic work. Be present with your clients in the room, not be worrying about, oh my gosh, what's my pricing? Oh my gosh, how do I do this? I am more than happy to share that with you. At least share the ways to think about things so you make your own decisions, because you're going to have to decide what shape you want your business to be. It may not be the shape of mine, but I think I've got a long view and a lot of experience to share with you in that specific course. All right, that's the recap. Thank you. I really appreciate you watching this very long Studio Tuesday. I hope you've gotten something out of it. By all means, any questions you have, or I'd love to hear in the comments, what are you looking for? Like, what is the thing where you're like, oh, is it one of these 3 things I described? Is it Agerbeck method, Camp Drawmore, or Graphic Facilitator Confidential? Or is it something else where you're like, come on, give me this thing? I want to hear it. Because again, part of the reason I'm here in Irvine this weekend is this work is very, very solo. And again, I'm an introvert. I actually like that part. I really do. But it is so good to hear from you and what you're looking for and what you need and how I can help. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think this is the Minnesota goodbye. If folks don't know about this, Minnesotans, that's where I grew up, do not know how to just say goodbye and leave. They start to say goodbye and then they continue the conversation and then they say goodbye again and it can take 30 minutes to leave. So that's what I'm doing. So I think I'm done now. All right. Thank you for watching. I hope you are well wherever you are. I do hope you will comment below about what you're looking for, what you need, and how I may be able to help you. That is my Studio Tuesday from bright and sunny Irvine, California, and I'm going back to my coffee. So thanks so much.